and welcome to Off the Shelf Reviews. It's your host Gary and Iain, and today we're joined by Dave.
Hi.
And today we're going to talk about 2001 movie Shaolin Soccer by writer, director, producer Stephen Chow. Iain, why don't you give us the synopsis for Shaolin Soccer?
Well, the story follows Stephen Chow's character, Steel Leg, who wants to teach the world Kung Fu and is trying to advertise it in all these different ways through song and through general just good deeds. And he comes across Golden Leg, an ex-superstar footballer who decides to use him in soccer matches.
I'm not here to fight. I'm here to play soccer.
So Stephen Chow gets together his other brothers, I think it is, and they all form a specialist Shaolin Kung Fu soccer team. Brilliantly done, actually.
Well, I think there was, there's 6 of them?
Yeah.
And it was... reminded me of Uncommon Valor for whatever reason. It's that typical story of getting these people back into their former glory to bring them back to do one last feat. And you see them going round to each individual and finding out where their kung fu lives have taken them. And they're all in jobs that they don't like, and they're all, being demoted.
Yeah.
And it's got quite a nice charm to it, those scenes.
I just love kung fu movies. I can watch any type of kung fu movie you throw at me. And this one, I saw Kung Fu Hustle first, and that's another Stephen Chow movie. And then somebody gave me a copy of Shaolin Soccer and said, watch this, as it came out first. I just love this movie. Stephen Chow just makes me laugh. It's just his explanations of how Kung Fu can be adapted into everyday life, Look.
Look. If she knew Kung Fu, that positively would never happen. Shaolin Kung Fu trains you to catch yourself when you fall.
That woman, if she's going to slip on that banana, she could stop herself. You can parallel park with the steel hand technique. It's just...
Cut bushes with flying monk techniques. But, so it's basically sort of a take in Hong Kong and China about the old Shaolin Temple. And basically, like he says in the film, all martial arts basically started from Shaolin Temple and got evolved from there. And it's basically a tale of how in modern day the Shaolin Temple doesn't exist. It sort of...
Nobody studies martial arts.
It basically became a fairy tale.
Kung Fu is not just a martial art for fighting. Everyone has that idea, and it's totally wrong. Kung Fu transcends all else. It's a complete way of life. That's why I want to show everyone how true Kung Fu can improve their life.
Trying to especially with more martial art films in the future, sort of over-exaggerating with the wire fu, the Tai Chi powers and things like that.
Praying mantis.
This one does make it quite funny. I mean, just the way he kicks the ball at certain points, it's like he powers the earth into himself. I kept thinking I was watching Dragon Ball Z, but it just tells all their individual stories as well. The other Shaolin monks, you've got the guy who works in the bar, Steelhead, who his boss just smashes bottles over his head. You got the guy who kind of looks like Bruce Lee. The first time they meet him, he just comes out of his little shack and he's just wearing rags, closes the door, comes out dressed like he's going to an 80s disco.
This film is out and out a comedy film. This is a spoof movie, and it's really quite genuinely funny in places. It really is.
We don't have much time, and you guys have a lot to learn, like everything. So listen up, and remember, you need to work as a team.
All right, we got it. Let's get started.
This is Stephen Chow's comedy. Nothing else exists like that, not even in Hong Kong, where he gets a great use out of strange looking people in bizarre situations, and he'll use every type of film, from sort of slapstick black and white era like Charlie Chaplin, like kind of same thing as Jackie Chan. He'll also use just sporadic dance and music numbers.
Oh, the dance sequence.
But not professional looking, just like, I'm going to get some very strange looking people that just are all inspired bizarrely for no reason, and will just have this synchronized bizarre dance.
I am also overwhelmed by the impulse to break into song. When I'm inspired, I must unleash it, or else I will explode.
Spontaneously comes out of nowhere as well.
But it's not questioned. It's like, that happened, and then
That
someone
happened.
says, "Oi, stop it," then they all just shuffle on. It's like, back to the conversation.
See, I did love the development between Steel Leg and the girl. I love the girl who's making the buns because it's the way that she
It's
uses
Tai Chi,
martial arts
isn't it?
to cut up the dough and make all the waters and the eggs, and the special effects look a bit dated.
I mean, when I first saw this, I was actually quite impressed, and then I watched high definition version this week, and
It's quite dated.
They are dating fast, this special effects. Sometimes you're like, it doesn't even bother you, but then sometimes you're like, ooh, that ball looks very strange.
Yeah, it bends out of shape all the time. It really looks like it's superimposed on top.
But some effects are good, like for what they had. Like you say when he kicks the ball,
Yeah.
it's like the first time when he's like in that weird outside gang fight, he sort of cocks his leg back and the camera does sort of bullet time around.
Yeah.
That was done with 2 cameras and still photography. So he sort of made the best with how little he had, and you can kind of applaud it for that.
But I mean, it's like that other scene where he's just repeatedly kicking the ball at the wall. It slightly looks a bit dated, but at the same time just looks so brilliantly done. He's just bouncing from spot to spot, kicking the ball repeatedly at this one bullseye.
So this film basically follows your standard Hong Kong 70s, 80s martial art film.
Yeah.
Where there's a problem, or he needs money for the family or something, and it's basically about training to get to that goal.
Yeah.
And all the hardships that come in the way, like
Team
from
Evil.
Team Evil.
What a name! I just love that name. It's just like, we've got to get Team Evil on the pitch. Really?
Sponsored by Puma.
Oh, the advertisement! I didn't realise this. This would be the 3rd time round I watched this film. Just the amount of advertisements you have just endorsing the film, and you're just like, just want me to go out and buy football boots and learn kung fu and soccer at the same time?
I think that's the thing that comes with Hong Kong cinema. I was watching another Stephen Chow film, King of Comedy,
Yeah.
and at the end there's a bizarre scene where they're reenacting a scene in the movie. Basically, they've all got Pringles tubes, all of them, different flavours, and they're all just eating them while they're going through the scene. And as it says the end, this giant Pringles advert comes up and goes, Pringles!
Pringles 何身水開心一大堆
It was just there.
Stephen Chow does have, from what I can tell, a very unique sense of humour, and
Yes.
you really get a sense of that with the film. For the first 5 minutes of the film, I was umming and ahhing as to whether or not I was actually going to enjoy this sort of humour. And for me, the first 30 minutes, I really enjoyed Shaolin Soccer, and it was after the film started to fall into its more traditional formulaic storytelling cliches that the jokes were good. They made me smile, they did not make me laugh. So I think, although Stephen Chow's sense of humour is very unique and works very well, I think stretching it throughout entire movies over a single thematic issue kind of wears thin a little bit.
Yeah, I think that was the problem with his last Western release, CJ7.
Mm.
It basically followed the same theme of these films, but it just didn't go anywhere. I don't think it even got released here in the end because it just...
Bad.
It was a good film, but it was more of the same, and I think you can get your fill with Kung Fu Hustle, Shaolin Soccer, I think. I mean, with Journey to the West, it's his comedy, but it's a big sprawling adventure based on the classic Monkey, so I think there's more to it, but I think you're fine with these two films, especially if you watch it in the original language.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I think in the English version they cut some of the songs, and it's like...
Yeah, there was only one musical in the English dub version.
Yeah, there's a few in Cantonese, and also like the song in the bar with Iron Head and Still Leg.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was California Dreaming, but about Shaolin Soccer.
Yeah.
It's awesome, especially when they're just cracking up singing it.
Favorite scene?
First thing that comes to mind is when the girl comes onto the pitch and she just hits the goalpost. Then it realises she's on the wrong side, and then she kicks the ball to the opposite team, and you're just like, oh. But I think it is the sporadic dance. The passion of fire in my eyes. I want to dance. I want to sing.
Yeah, I'm gonna explode.
Have you lost your mind or what? Get back to reality now!
My favourite scene has to be just the love interest for Steel Leg, the girl making the cakes. I love the way that she's introduced, and she's got obviously the Tai Chi mastery, and everything is balanced. She's able to control it, and then obviously her feelings for him develop, and it's like that scene where he flicks her hair back, and there's that fly just flying around her face, and she's just looking at him like. And then he slaps her once, and then slaps her again, and she's like, "Did you get it?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got it that time."
But just her transformations in the film, her makeover by
a man-woman thing.
Hello, can I help you with something?
Yes, I need...
Leave it to me. I understand, I'll handle it.
And they've put the biggest 2x4 in her shoulders. And just the scene of just the sheer fear on the team's face as she does these sexy poses and just like, trying to claw their eyes out. It's just bizarre, and I just don't think that would fit in many other films. It's a strange tone.
That's why it's so good.
I think my favourite scene... I like the scene where they're all on the pitch, and it kind of freezes time, and you can see them all in their certain poses. And like one of them's levitated and just holding on to the goalpost with one arm. All of those shots were really quite cool. But I liked the goalkeeper face-off with Iron Leg, where he just kept kicking and he just kept saving every single shot that were impossible to save. Yeah, and the whole gestures, the come-ons, it was your typical good guys, bad guys, the villains on the pitch, and they were all drugged up and souped up, monsters anyway. And so when they're flying across the field doing, kung fu, and the guys are like, "Hey, how they're doing that?" He's like, "Oh, it's special effects."
How they fly like that?
I think it's special effects.
It's just like, oh god.
That's like the matches had some cool scenes as well. It's like the goalie face-off. I like when the opposite team did it, the Bruce Lee wannabe, and he had the poses, he had the moves, and then when he was taken off the pitch, he put on those glasses, just like the scene in Game of Death, like where his tracksuit came from. And it's like when they play the team that's just women with drawn-on mustaches. It's just so bizarre. And or the first match where the the guy's just like looking through the team, and he's like, the guy with the fag hanging out his mouth, he's like, look at him! And then the guy with the coma was like, look at him! And then that bizarre man, he's just always got that grin.
Weird grin.
But it's just a bizarre quirk to that film. I really enjoy it.
It's definitely a good film. I definitely recommend Shaolin Soccer, and it's a good film for if you've never actually watched a kung fu movie before, you've been afraid to. It's fun, it's enjoyable, it's good for kids. It's got some good moments, and it will lead you to Kung Fu Hustle as well, which is another brilliant Stephen Chow movie.
And you don't need to like football. I hate football.
No.
But I enjoy this film.
Football would be so much better if these guys were playing.
Oh, yes.
I find it hard to recommend Shaolin Soccer. I really want to, but for me there just wasn't enough there to make me actually laugh out loud consistently throughout the film. It is, at the end, a feel-good movie. So perhaps if you're hungover or having a bad day, it's the sort of film that can lighten the mood a little bit. There is some really nice moments, and there's a couple of well-acted scenes, and some that are just like where the girl, she's been fired because her cakes are too salty. And he finds out that she's been crying into the dough, and that's because, he told her he didn't love her, which was kind of weird anyway. The whole obsession that was building was a little bit...
Yeah.
It was cute. But...
He definitely played it off as a Shaolin monk who they aren't allowed the worldly pleasures.
Indeed.
So I think that wasn't played...
quite right. It was, the idea was there. But...
And they didn't really say that to you, so you can kind of understand that taking back sort of old martial art films, but it kind of wasn't explained properly. It was just like a bit...
This is a silly movie, so you're not going to get anything from it other than a switch your brain off, crazy CGI kung fu. So on those levels I can recommend it, but on a whole, as a comedy film, there's better films out there. And the other Stephen Chow movie, Kung Fu Hustle, is the one that I would recommend to watch instead. Thanks for watching Off the Shelf Reviews.
Kung Fu's great, oh yeah!
It's so great.
Kung Fu is my thing.
He's mighty still late.
He's high